In this most contentious rivalry, are you blue or red? Under the lights at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. Welcome to ESPN's college football finale tonight. It's the 95th edition of the Utah Utes taking on the BYU Cougars. BYU has lost 3 straight contests to the rivals up the road. There's a look at the series history. In fact, Utah has won 8 of the last 11, and the series takes a 2-year break, keep in mind, after this year's game. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Brock Heward. Lewis Johnson is downstairs. He'll be joining us in just a moment. Brock, these two schools separated by just 50 miles of Interstate 15, and up and down the corridor this week, there's been the usual animosity and enmity punctuated by the mysterious circumstances surrounding the suspension of a BYU player. More on that a little bit later, but this rivalry means so much for so many different reasons to so many people.
And I would say personal. There's so many good rivalries, great rivalries in all of college football, and many times it's a tradition, the history, the helmets. This one you got a sense from both sides. As we talk to the coaches throughout the week, the players, the more we've been around here, the word I keep coming back to is personal, and these coaches don't run from that at all.
Hey, speaking of coaches, Bronco Mendenhall has been a long-time member of this rivalry, the head coach of BYU. Coming off a win against Texas a couple of weeks ago, they put up some huge numbers, but not in the way that the fans here are used to seeing it, Brock.
You come into the Hall of Fame here and you see Detmer and Steve Young, Jim McMahon, those guys known for throwing the ball all over the yard. Bronco Mendenhall said, if I'm going to take this program to the next level, we've got to change course. We've got to play faster than anybody in college football, and you're going to see them run more than you've ever seen that royal blue.
Cougars trying to atone for that blowout loss against the Utes the last time they played their rivals right here.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. And Subway, any regular footlong is a $5 footlong at Subway. Hurry in this September. Subway, eat fresh.
All around campus, as you can see, the statues have been protected by plastic wrapping against potential vandalism, except that one right there, which is, of course, the Utah Ute statue. Such is the case when these two heated rivals meet. This, the 95th edition and chapter of BYU against Utah. Mark Jones, Brock Heward, Lewis Johnson down in the field. Speaking of Utah, head coach Kyle Whittingham has been on both sides of it as a player with BYU, as a coach now with Utah, and he says, hey, this is a great time to play our rivals because we're trying to get over a big loss last week.
That's right. We're still early in the season. You're so used to these rivalry games win. At the end of the year, well, Kyle's still learning his team, but there's nothing to learn about this rivalry. He's been involved in, as he told us, nearly 40 years in his team, and even for those guys that have not been a part of it, well, they're going to learn that emotion really quickly.
Trying to make it 4 in a row against BYU, and for more on the rivalry, downstairs to Lewis.
Hey, Mark, tensions and emotions are very high down here. I mean, it is a pressure cooker when it comes to emotions. And we saw just a moment ago the Utah Utes coming out onto the field. And there's some history here in the past as scripted. BYU comes out first. They head to the far sideline. And then Utah likes to go over and do a little jawing and talking. Well, it was interesting to see that the referees were out on the field to make sure that the Utes got to their near sideline. You know, it's hard to believe, but emotions are going to be a big deal. But Bronco Mendenhall telling us this week that it is amazing that he gets criticized for not showing enough emotion on the sideline. The head coach, he says he tries to remain even-keeled, even though this game is very personal for him. And, of course, there are big program implications. Mendenhall says he tries to get his players to stay focused and stay in the present, focus only on their assignments until the whistle blows. And on the other side of the field, Kyle Whittingham told us that if you get over the top and out of control, bad things can happen. Guys, this game is going to be all about controlling your emotions. My suggestion to you guys up there and everybody watching, buckle your seatbelts, man.
Lewis, this crowd is turned up right now. And there's a look at the key stat that we talked about in our meetings and all week. One team runs the ball very well. The other team is going to have to stop it, Brock. BYU winning the toss. Deferring to the second half. Utah will receive. For Utah, Sean McClellan will take a knee and take the touchback. It'll come out. Well, so many intriguing matchups on both sides of the line of scrimmage tonight. And there are some really talented players out here. Kyle Van Noy, number 3 for BYU, one of the keys to this game. There he is, as talented as a player as we'll see maybe all year, Brock.
You're going to really enjoy his versatility tonight. He plays the run and the pass. He gets after the quarterback. He'll drop into coverage, and he'll do it all effortlessly. Keep an eye on number 3, Mel Kiper. He's got him in the first round on his recent big board for a reason. He's fun to watch play this game.
From the 25, 1st and 10. Wilson slings it complete. And a first down out to the 37-yard line. The ball came loose, but afterwards, Sean Fitzgerald picking up 11 on the play. There's a look at Travis Wilson, 6'7", a sophomore. Last week in the loss against Oregon State, ran for 3 touchdowns, passed for 2 more, albeit in a loss. With some very prolific numbers. James Bubba Poole in the backfield behind him to his left. And this is Poole. Tough sledding ahead, picks up about 2. Tyler Beck filling in for the suspended Spencer Hadley, making the stop.
Wilson took a beating a season ago as a true freshman, really thrown into fire of a Utah group offensively that had very little identity. What do? Well, they bring in Dennis Erickson, and you know what he wants to do. The vertical passing game, that run that plays off the strength of Wilson's arm.
2nd and 8, it's Poole again, can't get to the edge. Run down from behind, and that's going to be a loss of about 4 on the play. Manu Maleuna with the tackle.
That's well done early. Get used to it. That's 6 syllables, and there's many of them. And he's a 5th-year senior, and the stud in the middle of that BYU defense is going to be a problem for Utah if they become one-dimensional and get into these 3rd and extra long situations. Watch 3, Van Noy off the edge, and Fua as well. 2 very good defensive ends rushing the passer.
Drez Anderson has been the go-to receiver this year. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for both Murphy and Anderson in the neighborhood. And it's 4th down. Good pressure up front by Wane Unga. Tom Hackett will come into punt.
Remember, Mendenhall, Bronco calls those plays defensively for BYU. Told us very clearly, if Travis Wilson's in 3rd and extra longs, that's going to be in our favor throughout the evening.
J.D. Falstead staying at his own 20. Takes it on the run at the 27. And pushed out of bounds at the 33. A 6-yard return on the 39-yard punt. And the Cougars will have their first possession in pretty decent field position. And on comes the starting quarterback, Taysom Hill. Completing only 33% of his passes. But he has been a prolific runner so far this year.
Watch how fast BYU plays offense. Right now, through 2 games for BYU, no one plays faster.
They hand it off on 1st down. That's Jamal Williams, number 21. Actually, that's Paul Lasika. And Lasika gains about 2 yards. Yeah, they run a play every almost 18 seconds. Just under 18 seconds. Fastest in the nation. 2nd down and 8. Hill with plenty of time. And incomplete. A little bit of contact downfield as Cody Hoffman was down there. Ended up on his backside.
The game within the game. Yes, BYU is going to run it all over the place, but they're going to want to take their shots, and that's Keith McGill. He's 6'3", converted safety. They're corner outside, and watch 6'3" and 6'4", and 2 physical guys on the perimeter all evening.
3rd and 8. Hill to pass. Incomplete. His receiver falling again. That was Hoffman again. And it's 3 and out for BYU offensively on their first possession.
That's a big man. Keith McGill, a rough week. The entire Utah defense on the back end, over 450 passing yards for Sean Mannion in Oregon State. And that's a good way to respond. Coming out, you get a 3 and out. They attack you twice. You get off the field. Be such a key for them tonight. Keep that BYU offense that loves tempo, churning those first downs. Keep them on the sidelines.
Scott Arlanos standing in his own 19, averaging a little over 41 yards per punt. Jeffrey Norwood at his own 22. End over end kick out of bounds. No flags on the play. And they spot it at about the 25-yard line. Each team has had it once. Second possession for the Utes when we come back. Another shot from 15 yards closer and off the right upright. And it ends in bitter defeat for BYU as Utah won its 3rd consecutive game against their rivals. A great backdrop for this year's setting. First down and 10 for the Utes. A trips left formation. James Poole the lone back. Little bubble screen complete. Trez Anderson, and he's brought down after a gain of about a yard on the play, maybe 2. Trez Anderson, the leading receiver, has a couple of 100-yard receiving games already this year, coming into this 3rd one of the season. Second down and 8. Out of the backfield. Made a nice move, but he's brought down at about the 27 they're going to mark it. A gain of 2 on the play. It'll be 3rd down coming up. What do you see so far, Brock?
I see a conservative plan here from Coach Erickson, trying to get still his very young quarterback comfortable, get those completions, because they will attack vertically. I promise you, throughout this night, Wilson loves to play pass and take the vertical shots, but right now trying to get a feel for everything BYU is going to throw at them defensively.
3rd and 6. Completes it. That's Trez Anderson. That's their go-to guy for the first down at the 38-yard line. Picks up 9. And they recognize the name Anderson. He is the son of former NFLer Flipper Anderson.
Excellent recognition between quarterback and receiver. You saw the corner blitz from BYU. They like that blitz into the short field. Receiver sees it, quarterback sees it, and get the big conversion on 3rd down.
Here's Poole. Stopped up right around the line of scrimmage by Remington Peck. Little pressure again coming from BYU, and boy, quarterback Wilson picked it up and delivered a strike to Sean Fitzgerald for a pickup of 7.
He's 6'7", and what do you think of with big, tall quarterbacks of that size? Dan McGuire, long release, elongated motion. Travis has really buttoned that up, really shortened that release, something that Coach Erickson has worked on this season. Because of it, well, he can really spin the ball and get it out of his hands quickly. Pretty adept in that short passing game.
3rd and 1. Overshoots Anderson. Incomplete. Actually, that was intended for Anthony Denham. And 4th down coming up. And the Utes send in the punt team. A close miss that time. And, you talked about his throwing motion. It still looks a little bit unorthodox, even though they've tightened it up.
Yes, he sacrifices maybe a few RPMs, and at times he can miss a little bit high, but that sacrifice is to get it out of his hand quickly, and that was some of the vertical game that they're going to want to hit. He delivers that a little lower. That could have been a big play for Denham.
Rugby-style kick coming from Hackett. And Polslev watches it bounce out of bounds, and the Utes are going to get a good spot here. Inside the 20 at about the 16-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10. For Taysom Hill, trying to put up those big rushing numbers like he did a couple of weeks ago against the Longhorns.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and Courtyard. It's a new stay.
Well, that's corn bellies, folks. A 12-acre corn maze in Utah. You know, each year a new design is cut into the corn. This year, focusing on the rivalry, of course. You can see it right there, BYU and Utah.
I had never realized the proximity between these two schools. Flew in, got to watch some of Utah practice on Thursday. And by the way, have they ever elevated their facilities like everybody in the Pac-12? And then it's a short little drive down 15. And these folks ready for this one. This rivalry will go away for the next 2 seasons.
First down and 10 for the Cougars. Williams on the handoff, and he's stopped up by a group of tacklers. Might have gotten one on the play. Jamal Williams, the team's second leading rusher coming into this game, a 6-foot sophomore from Fontana.
And for all the talk of Van Noy on the other side, Trevor Riley is the bell cow. Number 9 plays many of the same roles right there, defensive end at the bottom of the screen for Utah.
Handoff between the tackles and nowhere to go again for Williams. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up.
And Trevor's as tough as they come. Played through a torn ACL a season ago. He'll play that end, that linebacker. He'll drop. He's very active, especially in the zone read game tonight. Watch the edges of the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 8. Pass incomplete. Intended for Skylar Ridley. And it's another 3 and out for the Cougars.
Well, I think you see why BYU's completing 33% of their passes. It's not just all on the quarterback. We saw the stumble down the field on the previous possession with Hoffman. That's a catchable pass. You've got to make that play on 3rd down. Yes, Taysom's 22 of 66 coming into this evening, but stats don't always tell the whole story for quarterback. Receiver's got to help out and finish that play on the other end.
4th and 8. Norwood back deep, standing at his own 39-yard line right there. Alano's punt, sky high down to the 39. And out to the 43. 46-yard punt. And folks, the chase to the Sprint Cup continuing Sunday from the Sylvania 300 at New Hampshire. 13 drivers battling to be the champ as the chase continues from New Hampshire Sunday at 1 on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app.
And watch out for that New Hampshire track. A little bit like this rivalry. Crazy things happen. 6 of the last 8 times these two teams have gotten together, it's been decided on the final possession. Turnovers, crazy field goals, all sorts of theatrics when these two collide.
1st and 10. Wilson with plenty of time, nowhere to go, and sacked back at the 36 by Remington Peck.
That's the vertical passing game I was talking about. BYU rushes just 3. And I think over time, Travis is going to learn against a 3-man rush. You don't want to retreat because typically your tackles will push those edge defenders out. That's where you need to step up, and he's been effective with his legs.
Slings it complete on the slant out to the 47-yard line. So Sean Fitzgerald gets a bunch of those yards back. It'll set up a 3rd down and about 6 to go. Wilson emerging as a leader, according to Dennis Erickson and Brian Johnson, the co-offensive coordinators.
We've seen pressure the last 2 3rd downs. What's Bronco do here? Is he going to try to mix, play a little coverage, or continue to heat that pocket?
Wilson finds his receiver at the 49. It's going to be short of the 1st down. Drez Anderson got about 5 on the play. And they're going to spot it just a little bit short. And once again, about a yard or 2 short on 4th down. Do you even think about it here? Do you go for it early?
I don't think so.
No?
Not on the road. Your defense has forced 2 3 and out. Your defensive line's been very good.
Kyle Whittingham is trying to get an explanation from Drez Anderson.
That may be the depth of that route. You've got to find a way to convert here on the road. Good field position. You've got to take advantage of it, especially when you're the visitor.
Boslug watches it bounce over his head, and a great punt by Hackett. 45 yards, and they're going to spot it at the 3-yard line. Taysom Hill and the Cougars offense 97 yards away when we come back. Well, this is a real special rivalry, but after this year, it'll take a 2-year break and then come back after that. And they compete for the Beehive Boot. BYU, Utah, and Utah State. State championship important to all 3 teams. This is Hill on the move. And made a nice move, tiptoes out of bounds at about the 9-yard line. He can run. Hale there to push him out of bounds. He came into this game number 5 in the nation in rushing. One more look.
He's a physical kid. He takes a good shot here. And that's awfully close to a quarterback giving himself up out of bounds. Jacoby Hale saying, get ready for that, Taysom. We know you like to run, and we like to hit on this side.
Williams again, and he picks up the first down. That's the first down of the game for BYU, for either team actually, on the 6-yard run.
It's the only way you can establish tempo. 96 plays a game over their first 2 games, and you've got to move the chains to really play at that fast pace.
1st and 10. Williams couldn't squeeze it, incomplete. And they'll line it up again. Brock, we talked about it during the break. Do you sense these teams have a little stage fright here so far?
I think so. I think both are just a little bit tight. I think both are calling it pretty close to the vest here early and don't want to put their young quarterbacks in any uncomfortable situations. But yeah, I think both a little bit tight. Exactly right, Mark.
Hill keeps it himself. Broke 1 tackle and got near that first down marker. And depending on the spot, he might have the 2nd first down of the game. Got a good block from Paula Sike.
A couple arm tackles. Eric Rowe in particular, number 18, will be so valuable for Utah tonight. They must limit the big play. BYU got started early and often against Texas. And you can see the umpires standing over the ball. BYU substituted, so they're going to allow Utah, well, no, they're not.
Thrown, yeah. This will be against the Utes. Jamal Williams on the carry, got 1. See what this flag is about.
Yeah, they couldn't get off the field.
BYU, the fastest team in college football this year, literally, and Kyle Whittingham upset about that flag.
Well, he saw the umpire standing over the ball.
Illegal substitution on the defense. Number 41 was on the field when the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And defensive coaches are livid. He was the WAC Defensive Player of the Year as a BYU Cougar way back when. And you can see the whole coaching staff. Hey, if they're subbing and that umpire's over the ball, you have got to allow us to sub off the field as well.
Wasn't Lewis Johnson telling us about the coaches having cooler heads? And there's a sack on Hill. Good pressure up front. And they got to him. Mike Honeycutt, the first one there.
That's called taking a proper angle, and it will be pivotal tonight as you tackle in space. You've got to go where Taysom is running towards, not where he currently is. He's probably their fastest player, and you don't be deceived by a big physical guy. He can really move. Excellent angle there by Honeycutt.
11th sack of the game, of the season, actually, for Utah. The pass complete. His first completion out to the 30-yard line. Mitch Matthews making the grab. Still short of the first down by about 6 or 7 yards.
These passing situations have been a lot of quarterback draw over the first couple weeks, really playing to the strength of the quarterback. We've already seen the struggles in the passing game. Don't be surprised if you see passing situations with designed quarterback run.
Hill fires complete, has the first down to the 42-yard line. That's Cody Hoffman picking up 11 yards, and he's going to have to come out of the ball game now because his helmet came off. But Hoffman is a guy, Brock, they're looking to get more involved. Why?
He has to get more involved because he is their big play outside. He's done it for 4 years here at BYU. He's been limited by a hamstring throughout training camp in the early part of this season, but he's their weapon outside.
Utah trying to get its players off the field. Hill has a man open, complete, inside the 30-yard line. Brett Thompson, the tight end.
Here comes that zone read fake with the quarterback getting outside, and watch the corner and the safety not get over the top. Just get flat-footed for half a second. And if they can get this passing game going, and it's been operating on this drive, look out for BYU's offense.
Hill feeling good, slinging it again into the end zone, and incomplete. Intended for Skylar Ridley, the team's leading receiver coming in. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, they seem to have gotten Taysom Hill a little bit of confidence, and they were telling us he's a little impatient right now, but then again, so was Steve Young as a sophomore, and Hill, only a sophomore, fakes the handoff and sacked back at the 32-yard line by Honeycutt. That's his 2nd sack on this series.
And that is a really good call by defensive coordinator Kalani Sitake. That is twice now he's brought Honeycutt off the edge. I asked him, are you going to just sit back there as Texas did and play flat-footed and let BYU dictate with that zone run? He said, we'll mix it. They've been mixing it well.
Hill looking downfield, incomplete. And it's 4th down coming up, intended for Cody Hoffman, who a moment ago had his 34th consecutive game with a reception. Now, field goal range or not? The answer is not. They're going to keep the offense on the field and go for it. Looks like a pooch punt. We got some early movement up front.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 21.
How big an
It's a
adjustment
5-yard penalty, 4th down.
is it when Bronco Mendenhall decides to go to this high motor, up-tempo offense from what they traditionally do?
Well, he felt like it was the only way they could take that next step. He felt like we could win 9 games, 10 games, a bowl game. But legitimately in his mind, he was going to take the risk to really change philosophically what they did offensively to play at a frenetic pace. The only thing I would say on a 3rd down, I'd like to get to my best play when you're down near that scoring zone.
And Brock, they're going to down this inside the 5-yard line. Great punt by Arlano. And it's downed by Sorensen. Actually, he batted it out. Great special teams work by the Cougars.
Just a little pitching wedge.
Sorensen right there.
Tremendous effort, huh?
Sorensen batting it out where it's down. And now the Utes 96 yards away. Utah's offense, after putting up huge numbers and 48 points last week against Oregon State, hasn't gotten untracked yet. Wilson, little play fake to his tight end and a little breathing room out to the 19 to Sean Fitzgerald. Lewis, the crowd waking up a little bit on that last
And
play.
they are. You guys mentioned that earlier that the team seemed to be playing a little bit tight, and I felt in my 2 trips around the stadium here that the crowd was a little tight, just kind of waiting for something big to break loose. We talked about the importance of controlling the emotions. Maybe the fans also trying to control their excitement for the 4th quarter.
That last pass complete to Murphy for 16 yards and flag down.
False start, offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Brock, you talked about the Utah identity offensively. What is the signature of a Dennis Erickson offensive scheme?
It's typically going to be those 3 receivers. You've called it trips a few different occasions tonight, spreading that field out, and he loves, with a big, strong arm quarterback, to take those shots in the seams and down the field. But he'd also like to get the run game going here on the road.
Wilson with the play fake. Fires into traffic, complete again to Jake Murphy, who's a couple of yards short of the 1st down, but a flag thrown on the play. Dennis Erickson, of course, the co-offensive coordinator with the youthful Brian Johnson. See if this play stands or not.
And eligible downfield on the offense, number 64. The 5-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
They're going to do it again. There's the 2-time national championship coach from the University of Miami and the erstwhile of Arizona State, Oregon State as well. And he has been around the block a couple of times in college football and the professional ranks as well.
Coached a little high school football with his son a season ago and has really added that Bronco Mendenhall wasn't taking a shot at Utah, saying they did not have any identity offensively last year. That was truth. This year they're starting to find it. A lot of it has to do with number 7.
On 1st and 20, this is Bubba Poole getting to the edge. Poole with some room. It's a foot race. And Bubba takes it down to the 25. Tripped up finally by Craig Bills. He's one of a couple of home run hitters on that team.
Coach Whittingham said this was his best group, most physical group from left tackle to right tackle that he's had in Salt Lake City. And when they get their hands on you, their big paws on you, they're tough to get off those blocks. And if they can do that for Poole, he's got some jets.
Here he is again, has a couple of pulling offensive linemen in front of him. And got a few yards on that one. Poole supplanted Kelvin York from the starter's job, and now he'll get a breather. York was injured in that first game of the season for Utah. Under 2.5 to go here in the first quarter. Zeros on the scoreboard. 2nd and 6.
Watch that vertical passing game here with the tight ends in particular.
This is York. Seeing his first action after missing last week. Picks up about 3 on the play. York a nice compliment to James Poole. A little bit bigger in size. 3rd down and 4 coming up. But what do you like here on this call if you're Utah?
Well, they've been effective with Travis running the football. He's their leading rusher, number 7 there, keeping plays alive. Been a lot of pressure from BYU. I'd like to protect and give him a chance to buy a little time.
Wilson was hit as he released it, and it's incomplete. 4th and 4 coming up.
And guess who?
Van Noy.
That's exactly right. Guess who? He's lined up in different spots tonight. The numbers aren't off the charts here early, but you can't twist and loop any better than that. You see how tight he was? So many guys will waste real estate when they run those line stunts. Time and again, he does not. Every single inch he gains, and that's why he often gets home and forces the impact on these quarterbacks.
Andy Phillips, the erstwhile skier, now place kicker, attempting this one from 36 yards out. Hadn't done much of it in his lifetime, but that was picture perfect. With 1:30 to go in the first quarter, the Utes get on the scoreboard first.
Arizona State 42-28. Mark?
Shoulder to shoulder on the screen. Back under the lights at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. Mark Jones, Brock Heward, Lewis Johnson down to the field. Utah getting on the scoreboard, courtesy of that 36-yard field goal a moment ago. 1.5 to go in the first period. Neither team able to establish much offense yet. Adam Heeney out of the end zone. Got a little alley, a flag thrown, and he's pushed out of bounds. Oh, they're saying he's still in bounds. Heeney going to take it all the way back, but will it stand? There's a flag down on the field at the 34.
During the return, on the return team, number 5, holding. The penalty is from the spot of the foul. First down.
Alani Fua, the perpetrator. So that'll come back. It'll be first down and 10.
And Heeney's another fascinating story. I don't know what you think, but there are more fascinating stories between these two teams and the personalities of them and the life experiences of them. Heeney is a 7'2" high jumper on the BYU track team, and there you saw just a little bit of his explosiveness.
First down and 10 and nowhere to go. Williams brought down immediately.
And I love what Utah is doing. They are not messing around. When you put that Texas tape on, and unfortunately for Manny Diaz, his last game he coordinated, they were hesitant. They were in between all night long. Utah is attacking.
Algernon Brown on that last carry, and they stopped up. It's Williams now for about 3 on the play. Third down again. 3rd and long. This is where Hill can hurt you. And he's brought down right at that first down marker. Where do they spot it? They're going to spot it a little bit short. Fourth down, under a minute to go here in the first quarter. He picked up 9, needed 10. They're going to run it down and think about it during the break? Or is there anything to think about?
Well, what they've got to think about is getting this run game going early, because if they don't do it and they've got to rely on this passing attack throughout the night, that's advantage Utah.
That's the end of the first 15 minutes of play in the 95th chapter of BYU versus Utah. Cougars down 3 when we come back. SportsCenter now airing on ESPN News. UFC 165 from T-Dot, Toronto. John Bones Jones defending his light heavyweight title against Alex Gustafsson of Sweden. I'd like to get that John Jones guy as my security detail.
That's a bad man.
Oh, yes. I was hoping we'd be related, but not quite so fortunate. Jeffrey Norwood back to get this punt, standing at his own 34-yard line for the Utes. Toronto with a spiral that comes down, and boy, he's hit immediately on the 43-yard punt. Let's go downstairs to Lewis.
All right, Mark, let's take a look at the FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones. And the big surprise of the season for Utah has been their place kicker, Andy Phillips. Just put 3 points on the board for the Utes. A 24-year-old had never played a football game before this season. Can you believe that? Soccer for 1 year, and then spent 5 years as a member of the U.S. national ski team. A lot to his story. I had a chance to chat with him before the game, and maybe we'll get that to folks in just a minute. Mark?
All right, Lou, back to you in a sec. First down and 10. Pretty good starting field position here at the 35. Poole gets about 2. Let's go back to Lewis.
Well, Mark, after soccer and then 5 years as a member of the U.S. national ski team, I asked Phillips before the game, why kicking? How did this happen? Well, he said after retiring from ski racing back in November of 2012, he was looking for something to fulfill him again. And so it was during Thanksgiving, kicking with the family during a Thanksgiving game, got the bug, decided to make a New Year's resolution, and the rest is history.
Wow, what a story. Great story. Wilson using his legs here, tiptoes out of bounds near the first down, right at the 45-yard line. Travis Wilson last week threw for 3 touchdowns against Oregon State. And Brock, what was really impressive about him was the way he kept bouncing back after those interceptions.
Competitive will is what Dennis Erickson said. And that run game is a changeup. They're not going to live with it at 6'7", 230. You don't want to put him in harm's way, but he shows you, hey, if you overcommit to that inside run, he is capable of pulling it for 142 yards against those Beavers a week ago.
Little movement on the right side of that offensive line for Utah.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 60. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Siyosi Iono.
That's a couple false starts now for that offensive line, and those pre-snap penalties, those are the ones that really aggravate you when you go and travel. You know that your guys up front really want to attack and hit, and this is a physical crew, but you can't afford those kind of pre-snap mistakes.
First and 15. A pump fake by Wilson, completes it to Poole, and he's brought down immediately by who else? Kyle Van Noy.
Remember Jarvis Jones a season ago at Georgia? We called a couple of his games. And Van Noy may not be quite as explosive as Jarvis, but as far as the capabilities of playing all over the field, in coverage, rushing the passer against the run, and then he is a sure tackler.
Was projected to be a pretty high draft choice. Second down and 11, decided to come back. Wilson going up high in the air and almost intercepted. Out of bounds, incomplete. Daniel Sorensen couldn't get those feet in bounds. Not even sure that he was able to hang on to it. Nope.
Well, tremendous effort, and Travis learns a valuable lesson against these safeties, and Sorensen in particular. I caught up with Nick Howell, the secondary coach, before the game. He said, put tape on, show me someone who's playing the game at a higher level than Sorensen. Too much air on that pass. Fortunate to get away with it.
3rd and 11. Out of the backfield, complete. Poole stopped up, shy of the first down. Tyler Beck. And this BYU defense responding again.
I think you see the margin here, and that's why I hit on earlier on first down, that pre-snap penalty. You have got to stay on schedule. This is a Utah group that is still trying to find its way with other playmakers outside of Anderson. They played a number of running backs, quarterback making his 13th start. That's why you've got to be sharper. No mental mistakes in those early downs especially.
Tom Hackett punting. They came after it a little bit. False love. Feels it at the 13. Not as much offense maybe as we thought there might be so far. Still plenty to play. Welcome back. Well, you're looking at Tyler Beck, who started tonight in place of the suspended Spencer Hadley. Hadley suspended 5 games earlier this week for violation of the school's honor code, where they have very distinctive and very strident guidelines that every student is to follow at BYU. This is a faith-based institution, and it's clear-cut.
In 5 games, the honor code of the institution, Bronco Mendenhall telling us yesterday that right now it's indefinite in his mind. And Spencer's going to have to do everything that Bronco asks of him to come back and play out the rest of the season. And shocked and surprised. Totally out of character, in the words of Bronco Mendenhall, Spencer Hadley, in the unfortunate situation, because I would debate he's their second best defender, and they won't have him for a minimum of 5 weeks.
First down and 10. Lasike on the run. Picks up about 3. Lasike, a former rugby player from New Zealand. We talked about there have been a lot of interesting stories on these teams, folks. We're not lying to you. Had an opportunity to play professional rugby in his native land of New Zealand. This is a nice option move by Taysom Hill, and he gains about 3 more, so it'll be 3rd down coming up. Lasike and Williams sharing the carries so far. Algernon Brown got a touch as well. 3rd and 4. They got to get to the 23. Pass incomplete, broken up nicely over the middle by Jason Whittingham.
Yeah, the nephew of the head coach, and right now Utah has got this BYU offense figured out. You've seen on nearly every single pass, Utah right within reach, and most importantly, the first down and second down run. That's what sets the table for everything that BYU wants to do to get this tempo going. And Utah's front 7 and that defensive line in particular, they're owning this game, and that's why you see that big 0 through the first 19 minutes of play.
Low snap, but Arlano fields it cleanly and gets off a great punt. Wow. Norwood fumbles it. Or was it touched? No signal. Elisa recovered it. Let's see just how close Norwood got to the ball. I would say he didn't touch it.
I would say the call on the field is going to be critically important here.
There was no touching by the receivers. The kicking team recovered the ball. By rule, the ball is dead where recovered. First down.
They sold it pretty well, though.
And remember, every play is reviewed in college football, and that's why that call of no touching is critical, because I don't know if there's indisputable visual evidence that he changed the course of that ball or that he touched it in any way.
So Utah will have possession starting from its own 22. You knew things were going to get interesting sooner or later. Kelvin York in the backfield. He takes the handoff. Keeps those legs moving, and a nice gain of about 5 on the play by York.
And you said it earlier, he's a physical kid, 5'11", 220. We expected this to get a little bit chippy up front. And all of that inside run is going to set up the play pass.
Guys jawing at each other a little bit. York again with the first down and punishing the defender trying to tackle him. Boy, Mike Haig came in. I think he got the worst of it.
Yeah, you better not stand straight up, kid.
He got his world rocked. Kelvin York running with some malicious intent that time. First down and 10. Pass complete on the outside. That's Sean Fitzgerald into BYU territory at the 45-yard line. And now this Utah offense getting some rhythm, Brock. What are they doing?
And while they're not up-tempo nearly as much as some of the units around college football, but this is what they like to do. You asked earlier about Dennis Erickson. Not only is it the vertical passing game, it's also that quick passing game. You remember for so many years at the U, what did he do? Get the ball out to my guys on the perimeter, play to their strengths and their speed.
Little drop play to York. He's had the hot hand on this drive. Got about a yard. Second down coming up.
And I can promise you, within the course of this game, if they can get that run going between the tackles, they will run that same action. They will get those safeties and those linebackers to bite, and then they hit their home runs down the field.
2nd and 9. Wilson hits his receiver. Drez Anderson breaking tackles inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Daniel Sorensen finally dragging him down. But another Ute first down after the 26-yard gain.
And another what? Quick pass. You want to stunt, you want to blitz, you want to throw all these exotic looks at us. We'll take 3 steps. We'll get it out of the hands. A couple missed tackles. And Anderson showing you why he is their big play receiver.
Off to York. And York might have gotten a yard.
On stop, number 34, Austin Jorgensen.
Wilson going to tuck it under and run. And stopped after a gain of about 3 on the play. Remember last week he scored on a 35-yard touchdown run last week and actually scored the go-ahead touchdown late on a run in the 4th quarter. A 24-yard scamper. 3rd and 5. Just 1 of 6 on 3rd down so far, Utah. Wilson double clutched and incomplete. Intended for Sean Fitzgerald in 4th down coming up. A missed opportunity, taps his chest, says my bad. And 4th down coming up, in comes the place kicker, Andy Phillips, looking for his 2nd field goal tonight. This one from straight away. Phillips with a chance to get on the field tonight. The officiating crew is the officiating crew that did that controversial game last week between Arizona State and Wisconsin.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I'm nice. 32 yards. And Phillips has accounted for all 6 points in this football game so far. Will it get physical tonight? Hey, man, it already is. Hat to hat. Chest to chest. Say it with your chest.
Mark.
Right, Wendy, first down and 10 from the 28-yard line. Hill hands it off to Williams, and Jamal Williams with a nice gain over that right side. Brock, we talked about this BYU offensive line a little bit. They use a lot of bodies.
They sure do, and they're playing a couple true freshmen, and they're going to run those guys in and out. But again, 96 plays, the first 2 game average is well under that pace, and 4 3-and-outs.
Screen pass set up, complete. That's Falslev, and J.D. Falslev's picks up 11 for the first down.
And I like this. Some outside run. It's been particular and in particular inside run between the tackles early. A little screen. You got to start to give this defense a few different looks.
Hill hands it off to Williams. And Williams met At the 47-yard line, good stick that time by Michael Walker, the strong safety. Joined by Mike Honeycutt. 3-yard gain on the play. Hill looking downfield. Threads the needle. And it's complete. Caught by Cody Hoffman. Wow.
He's a difference maker. I loved what Robert and I said to us, offensive coordinator. The coaching goes out the window once the ball is in the air. It's all his natural skill and talent. That's a throw behind. He is covered, but Taysom trusts his big receiver, puts it in his vicinity. He typically comes down with it.
First and 10 from inside the 20. Lasike got about 2 on first down. Looked like that time the Cougars were late getting a little personnel on the field, Brock. Perhaps they're still making an adjustment to this high-speed offense. 2nd and 7. A little pressure on Hill. And now pushed out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Jacoby Hale making the tackle for the Utes. 3rd down coming up.
And as rough a start as this has been for BYU and all those 3 and outs, the lack of touchdowns by Utah in the red zone, it's kept this game awfully close. And a big 3rd down opportunity here. This is where I like my best players, either quarterback run or Cody Hoffman at the bottom of the screen.
Looking up top and into the end zone, incomplete. And 4th down coming up for the Cougars. Lasike was the closest receiver in the neighborhood.
There's going to be a development here with Taysom, and Coach and I yesterday, I liked it. He talked about the patience, and Bronco Mendenhall as well. The patience that we've got to have. As fast as you're going to play this game, you can never play rushed. You can never play in a hurry. And I think there's still opportunities and big opportunities for this offense to find itself and slow itself down in big moments.
Justin Sorensen from 34, and he pulled it off to the left. He missed it. He had been 5 of 5 on the season. That his first miss. And a game of inches, always crucial in this rivalry. Folks, this week on Sunday Night Baseball, don't miss as Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals try to keep pace in the race for the NL Central when they go on the road to face the Brewers. St. Louis, Milwaukee, Sunday at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Under the lights here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, 6-0. The Utes trying to make it 4 consecutive wins against their rivals on Interstate 15. Alvin York gains about 4 on the play. Brocky, a little underwhelmed so far, honestly, with the offenses from both teams.
Well, you don't like defensive battles?
Is that what it is? If it's the defense, then you tell me.
Yeah, it is. And it's some lack of execution in critical spots. And I see a Utah team that's doing what they're wanting to do, and that's dictating all this inside run and short pass.
There's York. Another run.
I can promise you, with a professional head coach calling the plays up in the booth and Dennis Erickson, what do? You set everything up.
Quick 3rd down coming up.
That means double moves. That means eventually opening this up for Travis, and all the while protecting the football. They've come on the road. They play tremendous defense. And they've done a pretty good job. And I think why you feel the way you feel is because this crowd's not been the factor we anticipated it could be.
3rd and 7. Usually Drez Anderson time. Quick slant, incomplete, and almost intercepted. He tried to squeeze it in to Anthony Denham, number 8. And it bounced up in the air dangerously. And a quick 3 and out for the Utes with under 4.5 minutes to play. Tell you what, there was a lot of hot sauce on that pass.
That's a good thing, too. And Van Noy knows those are the ones that help your offense the most when you can gain those on the other end of the field.
Hackett with that rugby-style punt. Drives Falslev all the way back to the 22. And that's where it's going to be down. A 55-yard punt, nothing on the return. The Cougars still looking for their first points of the game. Part of what makes this rivalry special, 6-0 Utah, is that they kind of name their games for the special underlying indelible quality. There was 98, and Ryan Kanashiro's 32-yard field goal attempt went off the upright. They called the Kanashiro doink off the right goalpost. In 2006, John Beck completed an 11-yard pass across his body to Johnny Harline. Caught the ball, and they call it George is still running. That was the 2009 game anyway. Andrew George with the big catch. 1st and 10. This is Hoffman, a little bit more involved than he's been in recent weeks, coming off that hamstring injury, and brought down immediately.
Well, he needs to be. When you're completing 33% of your passes coming into this game, when Sean Mannion threw for 440 against this secondary, you have got to get your people on the perimeter going.
2nd and 5, quick slant complete. Number 19, Brett Thompson, the tight end, with the first down for the Cougars. 14-yard gain on the play. Hill throws it, and boy, his receiver, Ross Oppo, wasn't waiting for it, wasn't even ready. Had no idea it was coming his way. Another one of those tall, rangy receivers that potentially is a great weapon for BYU offensively. 2nd and 10. Oppo pulls it out. Falslev with the catch. And the first down, still on his feet inside the 40, fighting for every yard. And that earns a nice round of applause, a 20-yard gain.
And what have you seen on this drive? Pass, 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 pass. Utah's done a nice job, committed to stopping that run. Lots of man coverage, and effective here in the passing game.
Well, given time, and now the pocket collapses, and he's sacked. Loss of about 2 on the play. Second down coming up. Falslev couldn't hang on to it that time. Was hit immediately by Eric Rowe. And it's 3rd and long coming up. Quick personnel group changing.
And I think these are the situations that you got to gather yourself a little bit. You want to play up tempo early, that's fine, but make sure you're comfortable with this call.
Hill under heat again. Uses his legs to get away into the end zone and overshoots his receiver. Incomplete. Eric Thornton. And it's 4th and 11. Yanu there with a little bit of pressure up front for Utah. And a look of frustration etched across the countenance of quarterback Taysom Hill. He has passed the ball better statistically tonight, though, right, Brock?
Yes, but it's still that efficiency, that first down miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. That often then leads to what? 2nd and extra, 2nd and long, and 3rd and extra long. And you can see it. That's the first down conversation, not the 3rd down. That first down so often can lead to those struggles in the later down, especially if you put yourself in this offense into those passing situations.
This one will come out to the 25 on the 39-yard punt. Back to Wendy Nix in the studio.
Mark, thank you very much. Coming up on the BMW Halftime Report, we'll have highlights from the lone top 25 matchup today. Plus, we'll get you up to date from highlights from one coast to the other in our No Huddle, and it's almost time to hand out the game ball to our top performers. I'm joined by Robert Smith and Todd McShay coming up at the half.
All right, Wendy, back here. 1st down and 10 for the Utes. Taysom Hill and his wide receiver, Ross Oppo, trying to get on the same page a few moments ago on the sidelines.
And the 2nd down pass, you see Falslev, the senior there. You're just a foot off. And that's some of the precision you got to have against man coverage, that play action pass that BYU likes to also institute off their inside run game.
There's that double move. Up top, wide open, Drez Anderson. Still on his feet. And the turbojet kicking in. Anderson. Ball came loose, but he's marked down. They're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. A 74-yard gain, 1st and goal.
You knew it was coming. You knew the double move eventually. You run all that quick game to set these plays up, and what a tremendous call. That's why Dennis Erickson's won national championships. That's why Kyle Whittingham brought him to Salt Lake City. Yes, they've been patient, Mark. Yes, it's been a little bit slow developing. And then you go for the jugular. 1st down call, your own end. That's tremendous execution on a play that you've seen set up through this first half.
Anderson, 5 catches, over 100 yards. His 3rd game already this year, over 100 yards receiving. 1st and goal. They fake the fly sweep. And Wilson stopped up short at about the 1. Wilson, a pretty good runner. Although sometimes it takes a while for that 6'7" frame to unfold and get going. Van Noy in on the stop. 2nd and goal coming up. Neither team with a touchdown yet in this game. And he played almost a full half.
If you're Utah here, you may want to think about, as fast as BYU plays, using up the time on that play clock.
York the tailback. Into the end zone and wide open, touchdown Denham. Anthony Denham was left wide open in the flat for his 1st touchdown catch of the season and his career. But the big play on the drive set up by Drez Anderson. Phillips with the extra point. And Utah leads 13-0. Last time they were here, they blew out the Cougars. And a turnover-laced performance by BYU. This time, boy, you talk about room service. That's everything but the chocolate on your pillow at night. Back after this. .117 to go in the first half. BYU unable to score after a couple of weeks ago running up a whole lot of offense on the Texas Longhorns. Bronco Mendenhall, the head coach of BYU, said that he would have rather preferred to play last week instead of having a week off. This is Lasique out of the end zone. And a flag thrown at the 19-yard line. What does this BYU offense have to do to get in rhythm?
Well,
the fast tempo hasn't worked so far.
The problem is Utah has made you a little bit one-dimensional and taken away what your strength has been early this season. And remember, a kickoff return call back earlier.
Number 27 in the return team. The 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
And you can see it in Bronco. He shows no emotion, good or bad or ugly. But they had a kickoff return touchdown that was called back for a penalty as well. This is where you're telling yourself, just find a way to get down the field and get your points. Get 3 going into halftime. You get the ball to start the second half. The worst thing you can do here is yet again another 3 and out. The Utah defense that has dictated. That's been the story in the first half.
1st and 10, and they blow it dead. Utah with 3 timeouts.
Offense, 57, 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
How much of that is a function of the amount of offensive linemen they use up front?
That's a part of it. You've got a true freshman. That's a true freshman right there playing high school football a year ago. DeAndre Wesley out of California. Lots of moving pieces up front.
Mason Hill fires dangerously into traffic. Intended for Cody Hoffman. And boy, Keith McGill was thinking pick 6 on that one. He had a beat on it, Brock. 2nd and 15 coming up. The crowd is sounding a little bit restless. The BYU crowd. 2nd and 15. Hill keeps it himself. Close to the 1st down. It looks like he may have gotten it out to the 20-yard line with under a minute to go. A defense that was ravaged last week by Oregon State. Talking about Utah. Has not given up a single point so far in the first half against BYU. 3rd and 1. And a first down run by Lasike.
And give defensive coordinator Kalani Sitake a lot of credit because he's mixed it very well. He's brought edge pressure. He's stunted. His front four has been very stout. Played a lot of man coverage. And his defense has responded, as you said, Mark, off a very difficult week against Oregon State just 7 days ago.
Hill almost sacked. Under duress. And almost threw an interception. Into and out of the arms of Jared Norris, the middle linebacker. He might have been surprised it hit him in the hands, actually.
And that's 2 on this drive. And it may lead BYU to just run the ball and get out of here and find some adjustments at halftime. McGill earlier with near pick 6. Norris right in his hands as well.
Taysom Hill just 8 of 21 passing, so he hands it off to Williams. And Williams fighting for extra yards with 7 seconds to go in the half.
You got to get the run going. They will not win this game unless they find a way in early downs to get the run and get these chains moving.
For an offense that put up over 500 yards a couple of weeks ago, and really a signature win, Brock Heward, by BYU against Texas. Really impotent so far.
And as I said, when you put on that Texas tape, the Longhorns were in between all night. One guy trying to play 2 in the zone read, and a very different plan by Utah. They know this team very well. Even though it's a new system, they know that if they dictate physically with their front, it's advantage Utah.
This game means so much to both these teams, but on the Utah side of the ledger, this is a game that goes away for 2 years. They pretty much decided that their Pac-10, Pac-12, schedule takes a little bit more importance right now, and boy, a win for them here tonight goes a long way, doesn't it?
And the bye next week, and you don't want to go into a bye with consecutive losses, and then it's UCLA and Stanford coming out of that bye, 2 teams in the top 25 as well.
Hill into traffic. Pass is caught at the 47-yard line by Cody Hoffman. And Hill looking for perhaps another second to work with.
Game clock operator, please put 1 second on the clock. 1 second.
Well, this gives them time at least to maybe attempt a Hail Mary, right? Nice catch that time by Cody Hoffman. You know, it was his quarterback Hill that said, hey, we have to get the ball to Cody more and get him more involved. Every time we throw it to him, something good seems to happen, and something good happened there. Got the feet down.
They're not going to win this game with those 2 connecting tonight. The BYU is going to come back, and there is plenty of time, with this, especially with the number of plays that they like to run. They will get the ball to start the half. Hoffman comes a lot like Drez Anderson did on the other side. When you set it up with the rest of your offense, you get the one-on-one, then you can really take advantage of his skill set.
Well, Hoffman is 6'4", and you'd think you'd want one of your taller receivers out there for this last play. Hill heaves it into the end zone. A couple bodies down there, and it goes harmlessly out of bounds. And that caps the end of the first half of play between Utah and BYU, in a show of a little malevolence there and malice in the end zone. A little pushing and jawing. And that was the last time that BYU was shut out in the first half. You'd have to go all the way back to the 2012 Poinsettia Bowl against San Diego State. This from a school that has a reputation and a signature for potent offenses, especially throwing the football. But oh, how times have changed. They've been a lot more prolific and productive running the football this year as opposed to throwing. And tonight, 0, folks. 0 points after 30 minutes. Let's go downstairs to Lewis.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Coach, give us a few words on the way your defense is really pitching a shutout against the BYU offense.
Yeah, defense is playing well. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. We're executing our reads properly on the zone option, and we're playing pretty good in pass coverage. So playing pretty decently on all fronts defensively.
And how about your kicker, the ex-skier Andy Phillips, keeping you in the game early? It gives you a smile.
It does. It does. It's he's been a great weapon for us through the first 4 games. So we hope it continues.
All right, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mark?
One of Coach Whittingham's favorite memories is the time that they shut BYU out 3-0 a decade ago, 13-0 at the break. Right now, we're going to go back to the BMW halftime report. Wendy and the gang in the studio. Welcome back, everyone, to Lavelle Edwards Stadium here, 13 in the 95th edition of the Utes against the Cougars. Mark Jones chopping it up with Brock Heward, Lewis Johnson down on the sidelines. Joining us shortly, you know, players that are from outside this region learn quickly about the intensity of this rivalry, a.k.a. Des Anderson, the leading receiver for Utah after the first half. He learned after his freshman year, and now he's acclimated to the point where he's been a big weapon for them. But Brock, at the top of the show, we talked about the run defense against the run, BYU's ability to run. How do you see that storyline so far?
Utah's dominated it in 4 3-and-outs for BYU. The lack of run game and establishing their identity. Whenever you play good defense, you take the strength away of your opponent, and that's what the Utes did in the first 30 minutes of the ball.
And BYU is going to get a chance to put their offense back on the field here to start the third quarter of play. Take it out. Masike short of the 25, and let's go back to what we were talking about. What has Utah done offensively to make things work?
Patience, short passing game. A veteran offensive coordinator and Dennis Erickson said, okay, you're going to give me the quick passing game. We'll continue to take it because eventually those crumbs will lead to the big cookie, the inside run. They got out one time, but he never got away from the identity and the philosophy. And then right before half, there's the sluggo. There is the slant and go, and the payoff for all of that patience early. As good as the defense played for Utah, and a good shot at Travis Wilson, you knew they were setting up that big play.
And Taysom Hill completes his first pass of the third quarter to Cody Hoffman. Remember, at the end of the first half, they were having a very boisterous and vociferous conversation on the sidelines, trying to get on the same page. They did right there, and those two guys going to play a key part, you'd think, if they're going to be successful tonight. Hill keeps it this time and stumbled over the 28-yard line, falling right near that first down marker. Jared Norris there.
You see Jared Norris doing exactly what Kyle Whittingham told Lewis going into halftime. Our guys are playing their assignments. When you play the zone read like the old option ball, everybody has got their assignment to play, and Utah have been very sound. Give them a ton of credit for shutting down this run game.
There's Williams on 1st and 10, got a couple. Trevor Riley making the stop on the play. We talk about families divided. Riley has a brother on this team, Drew Riley, that plays for the other side. BYU, he's defensive back. 2nd down. And with a play fake, pressure off the edge. Flag thrown. Hill unloads. Wide open at the 20, it's caught. But will it stand? Pass complete to Thompson. This looks like it's going to come back.
Holding on number 77 on a takedown. That's a 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
He even called it a takedown, Brock.
Good in wrestling, bad in football. A lot of yards have come off the field, unfortunately, for BYU. The kickoff return touchdown, call back because of a penalty. There's your big play. It puts you inside the red zone. A breakdown for Utah. They lose their eyes defensively. And instead, you back it up. 2nd and 18. Thanks to the 2-point takedown from Michael Yeck.
And off to Williams, and he's met immediately. Moves the pack, keeps those legs going. A determined run by Williams ended up picking up 5 after taking all those hits. 3rd down coming up for the Cougars. This fast-paced offense yet to produce any points tonight. 2 of 9 tonight on 3rd down. Hill given time and a 1st down complete to Mitch Matthews. And Matthews with the 1st down. 17-yard gain on the play. First and 10. He pulls it out of the tailback's gut. And Hill on the moose. Taysom Hill on the move. Out of bounds all the way at the 15.
You knew there'd be some adjustments coming out of halftime. One of the adjustments for Taysom, continue to ride that play fake on that zone read. And he may be the fastest offensive player for BYU. Remarkable what a completion on 3rd and extra long does to the confidence of an offense and a quarterback.
Their deepest territory tonight. And Williams between the tackles down to the 13. Got about 2 on the play. They've passed a lot more than they have in the previous game against Texas by design, or is that something the defense is making them do?
No, absolutely not. Utah has taken away that run. Texas could never get BYU off the field in that run game.
2nd and 8. Lasike fumbles it. Williams picks up the loose ball and is brought down back at the 13. So it's a net gain of maybe a yard on the play after all is said and done.
And this isn't the rugby player trying to toss it back. No, that's Utah continuing to be very aggressive. Nice tackle there by Eric Rowe to rip and tear these 3rd downs in the red zone. This is where BYU must execute.
Hill, back shoulder fade, blocked away. Defended well by Justin Thomas. Incomplete, intended for Matthews. And it's 4th and 7. On comes Justin Sorensen.
I like the idea. That's a 6' 6" wide receiver, but probably not the execution you want with a throw behind. Put some air on it, let him go jump ball for it.
Sorensen missed earlier tonight from 34. Low snap, but he knocks this one through. Remember, it was Sorensen last year that hit it off the upright to end the game. So BYU scores early here in the 2nd half.
Back live in Provo as BYU and Utah going at it here in the 3rd quarter. Well, at the top of the week and also at his halftime minute, Bronco Mendenhall coming out telling us that he knew Utah would try and stop the run. Well, they got a little bit of offensive production as this 3rd quarter started. It was a field goal, but that's what they needed to have happen. As for Taysom Hill, I asked him as he came out, what does he need to do? And he said, number 1, Hill needs to make some better decisions, whether or not to give the ball or hand it off. He's hoping that Hill will kind of get on track with his throwing strikes. But now a little bit of energy generated here in LaVell Edwards Stadium. And I still think, Mark and Brock, that this stadium is still waiting for something big to happen to explode.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way, Lewis. Able to get some points, though, on the board, and this will come out to the 25-yard line. Folks, get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN at 10. It's Sunday NFL Countdown. His host, Chris Berman, and the crew providing all the latest news and updates from stadiums around the league right up to kickoff. And before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football now at 11 a.m. on ESPN2 as our experts provide the latest news, injury reports, and predict the top fantasy performers. Hey, did you see Seattle handling San Francisco the way they did last week?
That was good defense.
Wow.
Utah played some good defense in the first 30. That was 60 minutes of dominant defensive ball.
Wilson at quarterback, 14 of 20 as we enter the 3rd quarter, running it here. And he falls forward, gains about 4 on the play. Had some big plays last week, scored the go-ahead touchdown late against Oregon State in the 4th quarter on a 24-yard run, and then the game-tying touchdown with 21 seconds to play in regulation before finally bowing in overtime to the Beavers. Second and 6. Squeezes it in a tight window, complete to Denham. Denham picks up 5. 3rd and short coming up.
I told you earlier, Van Noy does a little bit of everything, and you're exactly right. That's as tight a window as you're going to find. And one of the advantages of being 6'7" is short intermediate passes. Wilson does a very nice job of fitting those throws into some cupboards. It's been pretty good in between the hashes.
Well, 1 of 8 on 3rd down. He's going to run it himself, and he won't get there. Stopped up short. Manu Malulea with the stop.
An excellent job there. Anytime you see a defensive tackle make a play in short yardage, 9 out of 10 times it's because they get their hands on that offensive lineman first. And you see him shed that block, have the wherewithal and the awareness in a short yardage situation to stuff it and get his offense the ball right back.
Fourth and short. Rugby style kick by Hackett. Also getting a chance to return it. Out to the 27-yard line, 47-yard punt and a 4-yard return. Brock, you almost sense that the momentum has swung in BYU's favor a little bit. What do you think?
What does Lou Holtz always say? In every post-game show, pre-game show, that momentum going into halftime and coming out is so critical. Coach knows that. He's been around it so long and seen so many of these games. And the fact that BYU came out on that 3rd and 11, circle that play, got the completion, that got the offense going. A 3 and out, you get the ball right back.
Jason Hill was sharp on that last drive. Williams with a nice gain near the 1st down and mad at himself for not breaking that tackle. And now a little extra curricular activity. The game just started, folks. Braden Kersley, number 55. Backup right guard and plays a little center as well. Couldn't turn that motor off. A 9-yard gain.
That's a true freshman. As I said earlier, doesn't take you long to learn this rivalry. And Whittingham as well, Jason Whittingham, the two of them locked up. A little surprise there. Usually.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 9 minutes and 22 seconds.
Usually when you have an extracurricular activity in full view of those officials and you rip.
He shouldn't have to come out then, right?
The helmet coming off. Now, if the helmet comes off without a penalty, you got to take that play.
2nd and 1. Throws it out on the play fake. Plenty of time to throw. And complete at the 40-yard line to Mitch Matthews, who's quickly becoming one of his favorite targets. A 25-yard gain. Kersley back in the ball game now at center. 1st and 10, Cougars. They call Williams' number again. Picks up about 3 on the play. He emerged midway through last year. He was 1st team All-State in California going back to his high school days. Williams was a very young freshman. Played a lot of football at 17 years old last year here at BYU. Became the youngest player to score a touchdown in school history. Hill flag down, and that one out of bounds, intended for Cody Hoffman, not even close.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Third and 7.
And this has been a money down against a Virginia team where they could never get it going offensively. 7 of 23 on 3rd down, better than 50% a week ago. A rough first half, just 2 of 9 on 3rd down, but really got that field goal with a key 3rd down conversion last drive.
Hill surveying the field, going to take off here. Nice move, but stopped up short of the 1st down. Now, do you have a decision to make, Brock?
Yeah, you go for it here. Very clearly, Coach Mendenhall said 25-yard line. That's it for his kicker, Sorensen. You're not going to punt it here. This is go zone.
4th and 1. They're going to go quick. They're 2 of 3 on 4th down this year. Williams gets the call, and he goes over the left side of that offensive line, and he got the 1st down. running over Vaitai and Vec. And Williams a little slow to get up. Williams, the team's second leading rusher coming into the game tonight. Talked about him getting a lot of playing time last year as a true freshman, just 17 years old.
And that was one of those football moves, helmet to helmet, in a short yardage, very physical situation.
Let's take a timeout and come right back. Back here at a very solemn Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah, you're looking at Jamal Williams, the starting tailback for BYU, shaken up a few moments ago. Here's a look at the hit that he took trying to get the first down. And there's the replay. His head looks like it was driven down into the ground.
It's the initial contact with the middle linebacker, Jared Norris, and he is going full speed, as you would imagine, in a 4th and short situation. Everything that he's got. And then the velocity into the ground, Mark, as that head unfortunately drives into the turf. And I have never heard 65,000 people as silent as this stadium is right now.
Team medics have been tending to him for the last several minutes, attempting to unscrew his helmet and take it off, and we'll go from there. Be right back after this. Yep. Back here in Provo, Utah, at a very solemn Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Team physicians and medics, trainers attending to running back Jamal Williams, who's going to be placed on the gurney. And we have our Lewis Johnson down in the field, hoping to gather a little bit of information from team officials as to his relative health. He was shaken up on the last play a few moments ago. The crowd here had been silent for several minutes while the team medics attended to Williams. Let's go downstairs to Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
All right, Mark, clearly a tense situation here, hoping for the best for Jamal Williams. Medical staff is now waiting at the northwest corner of the stadium, and I understand that he will be transported to the Utah Valley Regional Medical Center. Fortunately, that's only 3 blocks, and they will take him there and take care of him. And I can only offer this in all the years of covering sports, and probably the same for you guys. Oftentimes, this is precautionary, and we surely hope that is the same for Jamal Williams. But right now, in excellent care, headed to the hospital. Mark?
All right, Lewis. Williams, a key member of this team, as BYU tries to regain its focus. Frankly, players on both sides trying to regain the focus after such a scene. The quick slant incomplete. Intended for Brett Thompson. How tough is it as a player, Brock, to get that mental focus back?
Very, very challenging. I think easier offensively here, so you can set the terms and dictate a little bit, but all the emotion, all the hatred, all the rivalry we've talked about all night long out the window when you witness what we just did. Michael Elisa with a nice run. And now we got a little altercation on the far side of the field to the far hash. It's Brandon Kersley, who had his helmet ripped off a couple of plays ago. Faunuko and him going at it. Viliseni Faunuko and Braden Curry. You're going to see him right here at the 25-yard line, some extracurricular activity, and again, they're letting him play.
Hill on the move, taken off. Taysom Hill stopped short at the 4-yard line, but it'll be 1st and goal for the Cougars. An 18-yard scamper. from the 3.
This is how you respond.
Handoff all the way back to Lisa, and he's brought down at the 7-yard line. A little unconventional looking play.
This is called offloading in rugby, and that's exactly, you see the ease with Lasike there. Unfortunately, they could not out-leverage the Utah defense. We had a hunch we may see a little rugby play from the professional rugby player.
2nd and goal, 11 play the drive. Hill keeps it himself, trying to get to the edge, and is pushed out of bounds short of the end zone. They'll spot it at the 2. Jason Winningham there again. He picked up 4, and it's 3rd and goal. New personnel package for the defense as well.
Better be very aware of Hill, the runner here inside the 3.
Looking into the end zone and sacked back at the 13. Great pursuit by Jacoby Hale. And it's 4th down, and in comes the field goal unit.
And I think in self-evaluation, they're going to look at all these 3rd downs in the red zone. You can see the struggles scoring, but it's been the 3rd down execution in these moments. And I'd sure like to see him on the move rather than having to read and react so much as the field condenses.
Sorensen in for this field goal from 31 yards out, and he knocks it through. Now to within a touchdown of Utah.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by the Dodge Dart, Dodge, new rules, and iShares by BlackRock. Visit iShares.com to learn more.
Sold out Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and Brock, this has been a different BYU team in the 2nd half. When you look at the way that they've been able to get some sort of offensive rhythm going, mixing up the run and the pass, and it's been a nice balanced approach. About 5.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter.
And plenty of time, and in this rivalry, 6 of the last 8 times these two have met, it's been the final possession that has decided the outcome. And Utah better not get too conservative offensively.
McClellan and Norwood back deep. He's going to take it out. McClellan. And rocked at the 13-yard line. BYU a little bit jacked up here in the 3rd quarter. Celebrating its 9th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed more than $3 million in scholarship monies. Now, how does Utah respond? That's one of the questions here that begs in the 3rd quarter.
You have got to get a 1st down. That's all the conversation on the sidelines through that whole time period. Find a way to move these chains, get out of your own end zone.
Poole in the backfield. They throw it, and what a catch. All the way out at the 37-yard line, Jake Murphy, the son of former baseball player Dale Murphy, the former NL MVP, whose dad, by the way, went to BYU. And Jake himself committed to BYU at one point before finally flipping and going to the other side, Utah. 1st down and 10, 24-yard gain. Murphy out of the game. Poole tripped up in the backfield. Good tackle by Kyle Van Noy.
Well, let's see if Bronco cuts Kyle loose a little bit here in the 2nd half. We've seen some stunts and blitzes. We've seen him cover. But if you're looking for a trigger man to make a big play defensively, one of those game-changing plays, this guy has been a stat stuffer for 4 years here in Provo.
2nd and 10, 3 receivers out to the top of your screen. Wilson hands it off instead to Poole. Might have gotten 2, and Van Noy with the stop on the play. You know, Van Noy really an intriguing and unique situation when you go back to his senior year of high school. Was arrested for a DUI a week before signing date. BYU couldn't take him. Instead of going somewhere else, he told the coaching staff and Bronco Mendenhall, hey, I need BYU. I still want to come. So after that whole year that he had to sit out, he finally joined his teammates at BYU and became a solid part of the crew. Really flourishing. 3rd and 8. Dropped by Poole and a flag as well.
Holding on the offense, number 73. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
That's Potasi, the true sophomore there, and a really good rush by Kafusi on the other side. Not seeing a ton of penalties tonight. These referees are clearly letting these guys play through a few different scuffles. They got out of their own goal line area. The change of field position here, another quality punt's exactly what Utah needs.
7th punt of the night. Hackett and Falslev fields it cleanly at the 9. And that's going to be a face mask. Falslev collared by his face mask at the 19 by Dominique Hatfield. And they'll tack some yardage onto this 11-yard return. You can feel the intensity of this game ratcheting up here in the second half. And you hear the crowd reaction as they show the replay on the big screen here in Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both on the kicking team. Horse collar, personal foul, horse collar on the kicking team. That penalty's declined. Face mask on the kicking team. That penalty's enforced. 15 yards, 1st down.
Have you ever seen the horse collar and the face mask in one play?
And thus the multitude of flags flew in from everywhere.
1st and 10 for this reinvigorated, reborn offense for the Cougars. Right now it's going to be Lasike getting the load of the carries. Jamal Williams, if you're just joining us, was shaken up and taken out of here by medics on a stretcher. And we hope to get downstairs to Lewis Johnson for an update on that shortly. 2nd and 8. Lasike looking for a block. Picked up about 3. Let's go downstairs to Lewis.
Hey, Mark, as they were loading Jamal Williams into the ambulance, his mom, who was a retired sprinter, Nicole Thompson, came over to me to let me know that he was moving his hands, his legs, and his feet as they were taking him away. So that's a good sign. Still going to the hospital to be reevaluated from here.
Oh, that's great news, Lewis. Thanks. 3rd down and 4. And Hills stopped up a little bit short of the 1st down. Brock, hey, what do you do now? You're right near midfield, a good part of the field to maybe take a chance.
No, you are I've learned about you, Mark Jones. You've got some less miles in you. You are the riverboat gambler. You see how much time is left in this game and the way your defense, Bronco Mendenhall's defense, is played here in the second half.
Sometimes you got to assume that Lady Luck is your best friend. 4th and 1, they're going to punt. Milano, a fair catch called at the 22-yard line. ESPNU Road Trip Wednesdays at 7:30 on ESPNU. Roadshow takes a look at campus life that we don't get a chance to see on the field this week. Nicky Noto and Ali Nejad, followed by BYU as they prepared for Utah this week. They finished with BYU quarterback Taysom Hill and took a ride on a Harley. Coach Mendenhall, too. That's Wednesday at 7:30 on ESPN. That should be an interesting perspective. James Poole in the backfield. Poole going between the tackles, gets about 8. Poole really has established himself as the guy in the backfield over the last couple of games. Ran it 25 times last week for 117 yards. Approaching 100 now at 81 and tacking on a few more right there. Looks like he got enough for the first down. Nicknamed Bubba by his uncle. And if you got a guy named Bubba and a guy named Lucky in your backfield, I think you're okay, Brock. Lucky Radley, number 44, his backup. Pretty healthy average of 9 per tonight. 1st and 10. Wilson with the play fake, pressure coming, got rid of it just in time, and Poole showing that he can be a pretty good receiver too. Picked up 6. And the big fella took a hit, Brock.
And this is Van Noy. He's been dancing in and out of that box, in the tackle box in the run game. Delivered a bunch of blows tonight on these running backs and Travis Wilson. The stats sheet may not show it tonight with all the sacks and tackles for loss, but you're seeing the impact of, I think, the best player on this football field tonight.
Travis Wilson now 17 of 24. Throws it into traffic, and it was caught, wow, miraculously by Sean Fitzgerald. Picked up the first down. Man, how many guys were around that football?
That'd be 4, Mark.
4 blue shirts, and the guy in red caught it.
This is exactly what Utah's defense needed after being on the field for the majority of the 3rd quarter. Give them an opportunity to rest up before the ever-important final 15 minutes.
12 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Wilson gives it to Poole. He's met immediately at the line of scrimmage. No gain. And 45 minutes are finally in the books in this 95th edition of Red Against Blue. Utah against BYU. They're widely regarded as football's first family. Don't miss as we revisit the upbringing of the Manning brothers with never-before-seen footage and stories from their beginnings in New Orleans all the way to their ascent into the NFL and superstardom. SEC Storied, The Book of Manning, Tuesday at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Fourth quarter. 2nd and 9, Utes. Little heat coming, and Drez Anderson, the hot receiver, with the hot hand, makes the catch for the first down. Little pressure that time by BYU.
Yeah, and you figure you're going to get back to what's been the bread and butter through this game, and that's getting the ball to your best player, Anderson. You've lost your 2 tight ends, your top tight ends for the night. Expect to see a bunch of the plays going out to the perimeter, and the strength being Anderson.
Poole following his big offensive line. And he gets a nice gain of about 5 on the play. Drez Anderson, who made that last catch, has already had 3 games this year of over 100 yards receiving. He has 125 yards tonight. And the meter is still running. A really jovial, outgoing young man who enjoys playing collegiate football and being a student athlete. 2nd and 6. And here he is again. You can catch him at Drizzy Drez 6.
And it's fun getting on campus, Mark. And I was watching practice Thursday in Salt Lake City and talking to Coach Erickson. And like any good wide receiver will do, he comes over into the conversation, says, "Are you going to be calling my name and number Saturday night? I promise you that." Little swagger.
Got to have it. 1st and 10. Here he is again on the receiver screen. But a nice block on the edge. from Anthony Denham. Meanwhile, Murphy shaken up after he made that last catch. He has the ice on, as reported by Lewis Johnson. And he looks like he's heading into the locker room.
Wesley Tonga, their number 2 tight end, had ice on his knee earlier. It's probably, as I said, not a surprise. You go to the strength end of your team. Dennis likes his tight ends, but he really likes the playmaking of Anderson.
Wilson out of the backfield, complete for Kia Lotunga. Lotunga, number 4 on the depth chart, with his first reception of the game. And another first down.
And what have you seen in this drive? You saw Van Noy heated up. You see BYU start to try to dictate. So Dennis Erickson says, I'll get the ball out of my quarterback's hands. Completed 10 of his last 11, and most of them are the very quick variety.
From the 12. Keeps it himself. Good straight arm, but pushed out of bounds. Rocked out of bounds, and what a hit by Craig Bills. Sent him careening over the signage there on the sidelines, Brock. Look at this.
That's clean. That's within the field of play, and the impact just drives him all the way into the student body.
2nd and 10. 12th play of the drive for the Utes.
Anderson to the bottom of your screen.
Wilson into the end zone, incomplete, and a flag thrown. It was intended for Anthony Denham. And they're going to get a first down out of this.
That's Kyle Whittingham, what he's learned about his team. Lacked some identity a season ago. First non-bowl season for Kyle Whittingham in his 9 years.
Pass interference, defense number 20. The penalty puts the ball at the spot of the foul. First down.
And he said this is a group of high character and been resilient all season long. And this, I think, a pretty obvious call. Contact there, you reach, you grab, you do it in front of the officials. Unfortunately, that was the safety Bills, who knew he was out leveraged. Instead of giving up the touchdown, draw the penalty and put the ball at the 2. But Whittingham said this is a smart team, high character team, down against Utah State, down big against Oregon State. Felt the momentum turn in this 3rd quarter. But time and again, this group this season, a great sign for the Utes, has responded.
Talked about Wilson's resilience in the second half, threw 3 interceptions last week against Oregon State. Now looking at a 1st and goal. A score here, a touchdown, would be huge for the Utes. And a little bit of breathing room here in the 4th quarter. Wilson, complete. Touchdown, Utah. Paul Williams out of the backfield.
Both touchdowns, the exact same variety. Lots of eyes and focus on the inside, on Drez Anderson, on the crossing routes that Utah loves to run. That's twice now the Utes have snuck their back out of the backfield, outflanked the defense. An easy pitch and catch, and what a response offensively by Utah.
And the Utes now with a 14-point lead. And Travis Williams, once again, clutch money here late in the game as Williams hauls it in for the score. (20-6) Utah with a little more breathing room. 14-point lead here, just underway in the 4th quarter, and that is the thumb of the Utah quarterback Travis Wilson. And Travis has taken some blows tonight, and he's got the blood to prove it.
Blood on the neck. That's what happens when you get jacked up in some of the run game. He's taken some shots, but continues to stand strong in that pocket.
From the goal line, this is Heenan. And they tried to get the edge, instead pushed out of bounds, shy of the 25 at about the 21-yard line. Well, the chase through the Sprint Cup continues Sunday from the Sylvania 300 at New Hampshire. 13 drivers battle to be the champion as the chase continues from New Hampshire. Sunday at 1 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Brock, how important here for, speaking of race car drivers and high speeds, this offense get into gear and answer with a score right here immediately.
It's critical, but you can't get it all back at once, and you cannot force the issue if you're Taysom Hill here.
Hands it off and nowhere to go that time for Elisa.
And the challenge is Jamal Williams is really your home run hitter. Your leading rusher right there with Taysom Hill. Your 1-2 punch, knocked out of the game. Lasike, Elisa, they're grinders. They're 3-4 in a cloud of dust.
Hand it off again. There's another cloud of dust, and Elisa. So they miss Williams that much, you think?
Oh, absolutely. And then the screen game and the effect that he has on the defense. And that's nothing against, but it's just different body types. 230-pound tailbacks, rugby players, not the threat that Williams has been.
BYU just 4 of 15 on third down tonight. Hill going to take off for the first down, get it, and then some. Steps out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. You know, it was interesting philosophy that Bronco Mendenhall talked about when stockpiling his team and how he recruits. Williams, one of those speed players. You know, there isn't an abundance of guys that run 4.4s and 4.3s on BYU squad.
Will versus skill.
And this is Hill. Gains about 2 yards, but what are your thoughts on what his philosophy is, and ultimately does it work?
Well, it was a good conversation, and I said to Bronco, the teams that run this system, so up-tempo, think about them, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Texas A&M, what do they have? They have speed at so many spots and positions. Are you going to be able to recruit enough speed on the perimeter? And he felt like quarterback and running back would set the tone and alleviate so much of that.
Taysom Hill fires incomplete, intended for Skylar Ridley. And Cody Hoffman, one of their more prolific receivers, even him, and not really a blazer. You know, 3rd and 8 coming up. Hill 13 of 31 passing tonight. Downfield, incomplete, and no flag on the play. Michael Walker defending Thornton. And it's 4th and long. They'll have to punt.
And Thornton did his very best to try to draw that penalty. That's into double coverage. The nickelback running stride for stride. The safety sitting over the top. Yeah, I don't see any penalty there.
No.
I think he could tell that ball was going to be outside of his reach. Tried the drama 101. Didn't get the call.
Norwood back at his own 15-yard line. Alano punting from his 28. A line drive. You know, the silence here is pretty deafening. Utah's put a silencer on the sellout crowd here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Van Noy trying to change that defensively maybe on this next sequence.
ESPN College Football Finale, brought to you by LegalZoom, helping businesses successfully get started. And the Volkswagen Passat, that's the power of German engineering.
Those are the images around town. I tell you, we were at the restaurant Communal last night, and Morrow hooked us up, and I tell you, that's what it looked like in the restaurant. Red and blue. Families divided. Families sitting on opposite sides of the table. A great few days here in Provo, Utah. As part of the buildup for this game, James Poole runs it into the crowd. And with 10.5 minutes to go in this football game, Travis Wilson has really come alive here at the right time for Utah, Brock. How's he done it?
Short passing game. That's where he's been really, really effective throwing into, and you've said it a number of times. Wow, there's a lot of royal blue, but he's playing with tremendous conviction, better anticipation, and lots of confidence.
Looking up top. Out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Anderson. That time, Mike Haig defending really well.
You see the hands on the hips, and a few different times tonight you've seen Travis pat his chest. That's one he'd like to have back. You've got Anderson in a one-on-one outside. That's a mismatch. That's advantage Utah every single time. Got to give your buddy a chance to make a play in bounds. And if you're BYU here, a great time to cut Van Noy loose.
Gets it off in time, into traffic, incomplete. And a flag thrown. The Utah players nodding their heads as if that's going to be a pass interference call. Wani Unga tipped that pass. Wait and see what this flag is all about. That defense for BYU needs to get the ball back to the offense in a hurry here, down 14.
Pass interference, defense, number 45. Henry puts the ball at the spot of the foul, first down.
That's against Tyler Beck, who's filling in for the suspended Spencer Hadley. And a costly penalty that would have gotten the defense off the field.
And that's unfortunate. He doesn't know that his buddy's there to nearly intercept the pass, and just that contact, reaching and grabbing early. Unfortunate call there for BYU. Would have gotten themselves off the field. And you said it, Spencer Hadley been with the honor code violation, suspended 5 games, and he was really good in those coverage situations. And you can see Bronco Mendenhall asking if that ball had been tipped.
BYU is challenging the ruling on the field of pass interference, saying that the ball was tipped,
All right, BYU challenging. It is reviewable. Let's take one more look and see if the ball was indeed tipped or not.
Oh, it was definitely tipped, but see if the contact comes, or actually they're looking at the line of scrimmage, not tipped at the line of scrimmage. Now, obviously, Unga gets it, but does he tip it before you see the receiver grabbed? And now the contact and the grab is well before, and you see the acting job by Drez Anderson there. Anytime you feel that linebacker grabbing, you get their arms up in the air, the back judge sees that.
He sold it pretty well.
Sure did.
Well, it really didn't appear as if
well, there was no chance.
No chance to catch that either.
There was no chance, and a near interception there by Unga. I think Bronco can feel what you and I have felt really all night long, that this has been a Utah game, other than about 10 minutes in that third quarter, that they've really controlled. And he knows how costly this one would be. On 3rd and 10, off the field, get a chance to get some field position. I just don't see this one turned around.
Being challenged, the ruling on the field is that it's pass interference. You know, this BYU defense, last year 60 plays a game, and this year going to be interesting to see what it's going to be in light of the style of offense they're playing. There's one more look. BYU defense has been on the field for 58 plays. Still reviewing that last one. What do you think, Brock, about the BYU defense and the fact that they're playing this faster style now, and what kind of effect it's going to have on the ability of the defense to play well?
Well, as I told Bronco Mendenhall, Nick Aliotti.
After further review, the ball was tipped.
Wow.
Therefore, no pass interference.
Wow.
The ball will be placed on the 10-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 10.
Where was that? Now, obviously, Unga tips the ball, but are you telling me that he tips that before the receiver is interfered with?
Challenge and is not charged with a timeout.
This rivalry has had some unique and strange elements over the years, over the decades. Remember that 6 of the last 8 times these two teams have played, it's come down to the final play of the game. 4th and 10, Utah instead will have to punt now. J.D. Falslev is standing at his own 44. Fourth and 10. Play some football, see what's up.
fortuitous call there for BYU.
Nice punt by Hackett. Falslev. Broke a couple of tackles, still on his feet. Falslev cutting back. Great return to the 12. That might be the spark they were looking for.
Former walk-on captain of this team is simply a gamer. An enormous punt there and plenty of space. And what does he do? As all good punt returners do, you go north and south, breaks 4 or 5 different tackles, never gives up on the play. And what a response.
A 58-yard punt return. All the way down to the 13-yard line. BYU with life. Hill. Incomplete, way over the head of Cody Hoffman. He might have just thrown that one away. Orfe defending on the play for the Utes. They've had some issues in the red zone tonight. Where would you put your finger on the biggest problem?
Well, the struggles in the passing game, just as the field condenses, you have got to be much more accurate.
They hand it off that time to Lasike, and he falls forward for a gain of about 4. Third down coming up. Are you looking at 3rd and 4th? Is this like 4-down territory?
You're getting awfully close to that, Mark. It's going to obviously be dependent on what you do here on 3rd and 7, but I would sure love the dual threat nature of my quarterback here.
They hand it off straight ahead to Elisa. And a chorus of boos raining down on that decision to run it on 3rd down. 4th down coming up. And quarterback Taysom Hill on the field. They're going to go. This one of those defining plays for BYU and for Utah. Hill fires, incomplete, and the Utes take over on downs. Intended for Eric Thornton, and Michael Walker got a hand in there to break it up. And the drive dies in the shadows of the end zone. So you can color that last series, that last stand, red. All red. Utah ball when we come back. This week on Sunday Night Baseball, don't miss Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals trying to keep pace in the race for the NL Central. They go on the road to face the Milwaukee Brewers. St. Louis, Milwaukee, Sunday at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. Milwaukee not in the race this year. Harvey's Wallbangers ain't coming through that door.
And the Cardinals fighting with the Pirates. And how fun to see Pittsburgh back in the mix after decades away.
First down and 10. See if Travis Wilson can close the sale here. Poole brought down for a loss on the play. Nice tackle by Tyler Beck in the backfield. Travis Wilson has faced a couple of high pressure cooker situations already late in games. This would be a signature win for him. Young quarterback trying to find his way, just a sophomore. Been a trying couple of weeks for quarterback Travis Wilson. 2nd and 14. Hands it off again to Poole. Poole brought down after a gain of about 2. Talking about Wilson and the heartfelt week that he's had. He flew back to Los Angeles, actually California, where he's from, where he attended the funeral of his friend Nick Pasquale, the UCLA football player that perished last week. Dedicated his performance last week in that game against Oregon State to his late friend. BYU's defense needs a stop here. Wilson long, Incomplete. Almost a circus catch by Dres Anderson. Instead, they'll have to punt. And Wilson took a hit, too.
That's our boy Van Noy, our impact player, who has been very, very active. Travis's ribs going to be sore tomorrow, but that was a big-time throw. He had a go route earlier on the previous possession that went out of bounds wide to Anderson. That's one that Anderson's going to make and finish on the other end. That was big time.
Falslev had a great punt return last time. See if he can do it again here. Calls for the fair catch at the 44. You surprised they didn't try and kick away from him? Maybe, maybe not. 39-yard punt, nothing on the return. BYU got to make a move when we come back. BYU Cougars trailing by 14 points with just 7:02 to go in the fourth quarter. Mark Jones along with Brock Heward, Lewis Johnson down on the sidelines. And if you're just joining us, Jamal Williams, starting tailback for the Cougars, was taken off the field on a stretcher and taken to a local hospital being examined. He was able to move his extremities. That's what his mom told our Lewis Johnson down on the sideline. So in that respect, we've got some good news emerging from that situation. But on the field, they are in some dire need of some firepower, like Williams. A sack back at the 48-yard line by Nate Orchard.
Well, this front four has been the story. The front seven in particular for Utah. Throw the linebackers into the mix, as solid as they've been as well. They have really controlled this pocket and made BYU one-dimensional to stage. We're not ready for that yet.
Hill completes the pass to Brown. And the Brown going to be whistled down before the fumble. Third down coming up for the Cougars. They went for it on fourth down the last time they had the ball. Unable to convert. Kind of surprised by the relative silence of Cody Hoffman tonight, Brock. Third down coming up. Hill overshoots his receiver. Pass incomplete, intended for Friel. And a flag thrown, a really late flag thrown. Eric Rowe was in the vicinity. And the players looked like they were jaw-jacking at each other.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. Number 18. That's a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Would have been a fourth down.
Clean, clean, clean. That's all clean. And now you're starting to taunt.
No, really? I mean, come on now. He's just saying that's no flag.
Yep.
Hill scrambling. Falslev has the first down and then some. Inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
Well, I think you're exactly right, Mark. I think that's exactly what he's saying. And I say that almost tongue-in-cheek, but
right.
that's going to draw the penalty in this day and age we live in. And now you're giving BYU life. And if you've learned anything about these rivalry games over the last decade, they've come down to one possession many times. Why? Because of plays like that where you're off the field on 3rd and 10.
Hill complete. Hoffman with the catch and run. Picked up a block, reaching, lunging. And they mark it at the 1-yard line. But what a determined effort by Cody Hoffman. Picked up 12. Boy, he might have scored.
I think they've got to take another look. I mean, they're taking a look. I think they've got to stop this game. I think you're absolutely right, Mark.
Well, if I'm BYU, I want to look at that one. And they will. That was a touchdown.
Previous play is under review. The ruling on the field was the runner was out of bounds, short of the goal line.
Hoffman with an unrelenting effort there. They're saying that he was out of bounds. That's the call on the field. They're going to look at this one more time. 5:19 to go. BYU with all 3 timeouts remaining. A touchdown here puts them to within a score. And you look back now to that pivotal penalty against Eric Rowe. Although you would think that BYU would have went for it on 4th down anyway. Great run here by Cody Hoffman. Little hand walk. Oh, his knee was down.
His knee
was
down. That's exactly right. His knee was down. The ball stretched out. You're going to see the right knee go down before the ball crosses the plane.
Yep.
That's a good call. They get it right on the field. They'll put that ball back at the 1-yard line.
So let's assume the replay officials saw what we saw. What's your next selection? What's your next play call here for BYU? You see the knee touch right there, the right knee.
Clearly before the ball crosses. And the call on the field was a non-touchdown at the 1-yard line. And you called it. You were perfect in your analysis, Mark, that too quiet a night for Hoffman. If you're going to become one-dimensional and you can't run the ball effectively, then you've got to find a way to get your best player on the perimeter. And that's Hoffman coming back from his hamstring injury, so he's trying to work into rhythm with Taysom Hill as well. But as this season evolves, he has got to be a difference maker for the young quarterback.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line.
Plenty of time left. 5:19. Hoffman and Hill back on the field with the rest of the BYU offense. Trying to punch it in here on 1st and goal.
And if you want it, you've got one-on-one. Everybody is packed in, one-on-one in the bottom.
Hoffman a big target at 6'4". They run it instead. And Elisa scores the touchdown. BYU still alive. Great effort that time by Michael Elisa. And the extra point now from Justin Sorensen.
Before the snap, the previous play is under review.
We're going to look again at that run by Elisa to see if maybe he might have been down before he extended into the end zone.
Tremendous second effort. He stopped here, but he too has the balance. Is that left elbow down before the ball crosses the plane? That left forearm elbow down before that ball crosses the plane. That's a good look. That's an awfully close call.
If his elbow's down, then tell you what, that's a lot closer than you thought, right? When his elbow touched, I'm not sure that he was in. Right there, his elbow's down, and he doesn't appear to be in yet, Brock. Right there.
Yeah, he's going to be short.
This game has come to a screeching halt, but bottom line is BYU still very much in this. They're alive.
Well, indeed, if this ball is put back at that half-yard line, I'll tell you what you're not going to do, in my opinion, is run laterally. I think you want to continue to hammer away, and if Utah's going to put 10 defenders in the box.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Sure.
Touchdown.
Just what we said.
Yep.
And for Elisa, that's his first rushing touchdown of the season, the 5th of his career.
I will say on that one, the perspective and the view at least leaves some judgment. The pass interference and the contact early and Beck grabbing the receiver, I can't retract from that.
And now the extra point again from Sorensen.
I can at least understand that call with indisputable visual evidence allowing the call on the field to stand.
Hey folks, get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN at 10. Sunday NFL Countdown, Chris Berman and the crew providing all the latest news and updates from stadiums around the league right up to kick. And then before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football Now at 11 a.m. on ESPN2 as our experts provide the latest news, injury reports, and predict the top fantasy performers.
Well, speaking of prediction, how about defensive coordinator Kalani Sitake from Utah telling us, just fast forward to the final 5 minutes. If he's learned anything, he played football here at BYU. We've talked all night.
He knew
about the red and blue blood in this rivalry, and he played here, and he knew. Fast forward to the final 5 minutes. That's where this one gets real interesting between the two, and it sure has.
.5:13 to go. The Utes will get the football back. And for sophomore quarterback Travis Wilson, 5-5 as a starter. Can he close the deal for the Utes? On the kick return, it's McClellan. A 25-yard return. And let's take a look at Travis Wilson's night. He's caught fire a little bit here in the second half. Trez Anderson and Murphy, two of his favorite targets. Murphy now gone, though. Denham caught a touchdown a little bit earlier, as did Carl Williams right there.
He's done a nice job of protecting against the negative play. Taking what's there. The short passing game's been very effective. He's got to find a way to get a couple first downs here.
Hands it off to Poole. And Bubba Poole putting two hands on that football. And a nice gain of about 9, close to that first down. Under 5 minutes to go. Both teams with a full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Utah trying to make it 4 consecutive wins against their rivals along Interstate 15. 2nd and 1. Poole approaching 100 yards rushing tonight. At 117 last week. Utah, do they risk being a little too deliberate here, letting the clock wind down a little bit, or is that part of the game plan? We'll see. Poole on the handoff, getting to the edge. Gets the first down and then some, stays in bounds. And a flag thrown on the play. This might come back.
Holding on the offense, number 73.
That's going to come back.
10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Jeremiah Potasi.
It's not going to show up in the stat sheet as a tackle for loss or a sack, but his impact has been felt, and it can happen on a holding call as you see Van Noy get off, get his hands on that left tackle, and a pretty good acting job. If you get held, you get reached, you get grabbed, you lose contain.
Did guys flop when you played?
Sure.
I hesitate to use that word, but you sell it, okay?
Yes.
2nd and 11. Can BYU get the defensive stop that they need right now? Wilson pulls the trigger, incomplete. Boy, Trez Anderson was thinking about running before he caught it. And it's 3rd and long. Wilson has missed on his last 4 passes, although he didn't get much help that time. They're going to blow this dead.
Prior to the snap, false start on number 59 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
How much that do you think is noise factor?
It is noise. It's also number 3. I mean, I can't state that more clearly enough. Dennis Erickson said all week long we had to know where he was at. He's on that open edge. He moves around the right side, the left side.
3rd and 16 now. And they're bringing the noise again. They set up the screen well. Poole got a block, but didn't get enough for the first down. The defense wins that challenge. Van Noy in on the stop again. Number 3, ubiquitous all over the field tonight. And it's 4th down.
That's a screen pass away, and that's all effort. And that's Kyle saying, I've lost to this team in red 3 times. I don't want to go out as a senior coming back to school. Had a draft eligible grade of a 2nd-round pick. Decided to turn that down to come back to school. Been relentless from beginning to end tonight.
Clock running as we approach 3 minutes to go. Hackett standing at his own 15. Falslev back at his 25. He's going to let this one bounce. And it's going to be down to the 37. A 33-yard punt, nothing on the return. Coming up next, college football final presented by AT&T. Well, this pretty much fits the script, doesn't it? I mean, 6 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams have gone down to the final play, the final possession. And with 2:49 to go, BYU with a chance. Pass overthrown by a mile, intended for Cody Hoffman. A bad miss by Taysom Hill.
And Paul Apoy with one of his first shots all night long on Taysom Hill. Couldn't come at a better time for the Utes.
Hill completes this one. Right back to the same guy, Cody Hoffman. First down, working against Orfe, picked up 15.
I love it. It's game time. What are you going to do? Go to your best player. Did it on the previous drive. They try on first down on the out route, that time on the slant. Make Utah prove they can stop them.
Hill over the middle, complete. Number 2 again. Hoffman picks up 12.
Sometimes the game is terribly complex. Other times it's really, really simple.
You got to ask yourself, where was this earlier? Hoffman now over 100 yards receiving tonight. Went back to the well one more time, incomplete. Stops the clock with 2:14 to go.
We saw a double move earlier with Drez Anderson, the big play that Utah had right before halftime, the slant and go. You've hit this slant, you've hit this slant. You wonder if there's an opportunity with Hoffman to make that same double move against man coverage.
Hill with a nice fake, but he's brought down. And a nice open field tackle by Hale. Wow, got him by the shoelaces.
That's a tremendous tackle. Something you didn't see from Texas all night long. Well done at a critical moment.
5th sack of the night for the defense. 3rd and 13. Hill down the middle. Incomplete. Broken up. No flag on the play. Michael Walker there to make it 4th and 13. Eric Thornton, the intended target.
Make sure you get to your best play here. Your tempo and timing, not more important, should not trump. That's a good call, throws behind. Your best play call in this moment.
A stop for the defense here, and it's pretty much ball game, you would think. And BYU is going to use one of its 3 remaining timeouts. Looking at 4th down and 13. That time he didn't go to Hoffman. 4th and 13. It's money time. What are you calling and who are you going to?
You got to play to the strengths of your group in these most critical moments, right? I mean, that's not rocket science. As I said on this drive, there are times there's a chess match. At times there's Dennis Erickson setting up a play. Other times, with the game on the line, you got to have the ball in your best player's hands, and that's Hoffman, and that's your quarterback creating.
What are they going to wait on? I mean, you'd think if you're the secondary for Utah, you're sitting on it right now because he's caught about 4 passes on this drive already.
You have to make somebody else beat you. Yes, this is a group that's very proud defensively, and all night long they've played a ton of man coverage. Yeah, you may want to cheat your safety over number 2's way just a little bit.
They've made Taysom Hill throw it a lot more maybe than they expected to tonight. 43 times in all. 4th and 13. BYU to stay alive right here. Down the middle. Intercepted. Walker. And the smattering of fans in red that have made the 50-mile trip down Interstate 15 making a little bit of noise here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. That may have sealed the Cougars' fate. That's their first interception of the season, in fact. And it's something that Coach Winningham had talked about.
And BYU is trying to clear this out for your big-time receiver to come into play. And unfortunately, Taysom thinks he's got that clear route. Safety sitting right behind. You saw Hoffman, if he could have just hesitated for a second longer, move those chains.
BYU with a couple of timeouts remaining. And Wilson gets back to the line of scrimmage, may have lost a yard on the play. At what point does BYU burn their timeouts? Let's do a little bit of math. 1:32 to go. They're going to burn one of their 2.
Oh, you burn them right away. Yeah, you put the burden back on that offense, and you're going to make them punt again. We've already seen Falslev with an excellent return.
But it hasn't been pretty tonight for either quarterback. Wilson, though, a little bit more proficient than his counterpart. 24 of 35. 273 yards, a couple of touchdowns. And unlike last week, he has grown in the sense that he hasn't given the ball away. 3 interceptions last week.
Huge.
0 this week, Brock.
It's huge. And when you go on the road, it is a must. And when you are still in the infancy stages of building your identity and finding the rest of your playmakers, as Utah is offensively, and you face the likes of Kyle Van Noy to avoid the negative plays, can't be undersold.
2nd and 12. Hands it off to Poole, who's stopped up immediately by Van Noy. Well, that's one guy that going to grade out, you'd think, pretty well after tonight's game. 3rd down coming up. And another final now timeout taken by BYU.
There's just times guys look a little different. Right?
Yep.
At this level especially, you can see a professional football player. The way they move, the way they carry themselves, the way they finish and tackle, and his tremendous strength is his versatility in run and pass.
He's handled his business tonight. But now Utah looking at a 3rd and long and a chance to get a 1st down and really put this game away rather than punt.
You can't risk passing here. You have got to chew off these 40-some seconds, Mark.
Not even a Dres Anderson target. I mean, he's been pretty reliable tonight, gone over 100 yards again for the 3rd consecutive game.
You missed on a go route, you missed on the quick hitch the last 2 times you've gone that way. Yeah, I don't think this is time.
1 of 12 tonight on 3rd down. Poole with the handoff, short of the 1st down.
This will get down under 40 seconds.
They'll get the ball back. BYU will. But where and with how much time?
Maybe about, I think you're going to take a timeout right before this play clock runs out. And you can see it around that 40-second mark. You're going to have to punt it in this matchup and in this rivalry game. Who knows what's going to happen and how the ball will bounce.
It's never in the bag. Remember last year BYU had a chance, late field goal. They had a chance a 2nd time and it went off the upright. Utah eventually winning. 4th down coming up. 2 seconds on the play clock and they call a timeout. Utah with 2 timeouts remaining. 39 seconds to go. And this is the 95th edition of BYU against Utah.
And Hackett has done a nice job at punter tonight. And really the one time that Falslev really got out was on the booming punt. You said earlier, is this a directional kick? I think it is. I think this is one of those situations like the last one that you may sacrifice a little bit of that net punting to not give Falsleth that breathing room he had on his big return.
Hackett tonight, this will be his 11th punt. And he's averaged over 45, right at 45 yards a punt tonight. So the situation begs for his best right now.
Look at BYU.
Going to come after a little bit. And the fair catch called by Falsleth at the 47-yard line. 32 seconds to go. Nothing but a touchdown will do for BYU. Been a miserable night passing the football. Let's just be honest for Taysom Hill. 18 of 44. No touchdowns and 1 interception. But there's still time to change the final script. Passing off the hands of his receiver Hoffman, incomplete. Should have caught it. Stops the clock with 27 seconds to go. BYU no timeouts remaining. Four receivers in on the pattern. Hill on the loose. Heaves it. Incomplete. Harmlessly at the 12-yard line. Hoffman again, the intended receiver. Third down. 17 seconds to go.
Hoffman is gassed. Remember, he's battled that hamstring coming back. He is tired at the top of the screen.
Hill flushed out again. Under duress. Has a man downfield. Hoffman battling, incomplete at the 3. And BYU has run it down to its last final 5 seconds for head coach, the stoic Mendenhall on the sidelines. A last gasp effort coming up for the Cougars. And a mixed look of hope and helplessness from their fans. And a timeout called by Utah.
That's a curious timeout.
Why?
Yeah, I don't. If they run that play, Hoffman's not in the game. He ran off the field on the sidelines. He was not even going to be able to participate. And they're lingering around. Mendenhall's headset is off. I know you want to get your guys in position defensively, but the trade-off is you at least allow BYU to now catch their breath. And if you're BYU's offensive line, you've got to give Taysom an opportunity to heave this one. And as you see it, well, Hoffman's still not in the game, gassed.
He's going to sit out the last play, surprisingly. Hill is going to have to heave this one into the end zone, but they flush him out. He barely gets it off. Incomplete, and no flag on the play as Mitch Matthews was in the area, and a chorus of boos raining down on the officials as Hoffman fought off the defender. Check that, Matthews fought off the defender. So Utah now with its 4th consecutive win against its rivals BYU.
And you're going to see receiver DB tangled up.
Oh, he pulled the defender into him.
He sure did. He's trying to fight to get the call, and they're going back and forth. That's a smart move by Matthews. And the officials getting that one right as it plunks Matthews on the ground. The fans wanted the penalty. Obviously, Van Noy wanted it, but Matthews just as guilty there, the culprit. In a wild finish, why not in this rivalry?
Came down to the last play.
Seen it all.
So Utah wins its 4th in a row against BYU, and its 9th in the last 12. Van Noy will not know what it's like to defeat them. he won't see the 96th edition. That's a wrap. Utah wins it 20-13. Up next, college football final. For Lewis Johnson, Brock Ewart, I'm Mark Jones saying good night from Provo, Utah.